Hey, lovers, I am your host, Dee Shields. Thank you so much for coming by. I want to take a moment to shout out this beautiful moment that happened to me this week, and that is finally solidifying the LLC. So I can't wait to show you guys the logo. I want to make sure that you stay tuned. I already have it up on my Twitter. So for those of you that are following on Twitter, you can just go ahead and go over there and scroll the timeline. You will see the new logo. You will see the new name. I'm going to go into some more detail, personal detail, when it comes to the name for those of my followers who are on Facebook because they are a little closer attached to me than everyone else that tunes in. But for those who want to check it out right now, hashtag IMDEESHIELDS. Put that into Twitter and you ought to be able to find my profile. Thank you so much. Right now, it still is attached to Miss Diva for you, and that's changing soon. So I want to make sure that you're using this hashtag to find me on social media. Hashtag IMDEESHIELDS. You can still find me on some of the platforms under NZDEEVA, the number 4, and YOU. Right? So let's get to this trending topic that I have going on right now. So I wanted to make sure that we have some some clarity as to what we're going to talk about today. Now, in the news, you are seeing we're going to be talking about right now anger, um, and child support and alimony, right? And a lot of this is coming about because we're watching this whole saga, um, so to speak, of Dr. Dre and his ex fold out, just kind of come about in the media, and we're all taking a look at that, right? So um, there we go. So I want to make sure I had everything set up over there for you guys on Facebook. So we're looking at this unfold in the media, and it brought to me a topic because I've had conversations with some people over the last few weeks, and I know that they are going through similar, maybe not as large as Dr. Dre has going on, but they are going through similar issues. And the one thing that I saw that was in common with Dr. Dre's situation and about 5 to 10 other individuals that are dealing with child support, the one thing that I saw that everyone had in common was this anger narrative that was coming from the ex on the woman's side. So I want to have this conversation, being a woman, being a woman who has experienced what you all are experiencing. Although I cannot relate directly to that $1 billion life that you are fighting for with Dr. Dre's ex, I do relate to what it takes to move away and separate from someone, finding your own path, still raising the children, and a need to make sure that the children are still interacting with the person that you are having some really tense conversations with when it comes to child support and the amount of child support. Every woman wants, what she feels is her worth, and it's not our place to say what her worth is, right? So because she knows her story, right? So she knows what she put into it, and when she has put a lot into the relationship, has endured a lot in the relationship, sometimes the dollar signs that she's seeking, or she's putting the things that she's been through in addition to, that defamation of character, infidelity, anger, violence, who knows, there's a host of things that women put in this request for child support, not just support for the children. Now, in my situation, I didn't ask for child support because I'm independent in every sense of the word, right? So I didn't seek child support. Everyone knows that when I met my soldier, I was a single mother out there grinding, doing it on my own. I was assistant branch administrator at a location, Great Bar location in San Antonio, Texas. I'm holding my own. I was already at the highest paid and in a state that the minimum wage has been $7 since the 70s. I was maintaining very good place on my own, in Texas. So I was, that's just where I was at. So to have someone come in and say, hey, I want to be with you, and I'm going to actually jump in, and I'm going to be the stepfather, and I'm going to support you with what you're trying to do with raising your children. Let's make this relationship work it, go half on a baby, joking, but we didn't go half on a baby, but, like he came in and he had his place and he stood and stood in the gap. But as an independent woman, I was already doing it, right? So I didn't need Jonathan to come in and save me, I didn't look for that in a new relationship, in a new marriage, right? So I also, when I was out there grinding, struggling on the streets of Austin, doing it on my own, grabbing these administrative receptionist positions, I'm out there doing what I knew that I needed to do for my children. I didn't have time to take a step back and go into some battle over child support, right? So one thing that my son's father did, my son's biological father did, was he filed child support on himself. It upset him. This is, we're an exception to the rule. It upset him that I wasn't seeking child support. And so in me not seeking child support, to him, he's going, are you trying to take this child and do it on your own and not have me in his life? No, you can be a part of his life. Once we went past that point where I knew that as much as I wanted to go on, I was a couple of days into having my child. As much as I wanted to move on past the drama and the toxic that brought at that time, I knew that my son had to know his father. For me in the beginning, before my son was born, I walked away raising my daughters, knowing that I was doing what was best for my daughters because their biological situation, one was violent and the other one was dealing drugs. So I knew I could not have my future Black queens a part of that. So I walked away in a huge independent move and said at one point, I was forced through the welfare system to go for child support. When that happened, it was an experience that I go, welfare system, why is it that you force people to try to be in someone's life when they're saying that I don't have what it takes, So I was upset at the system, but I had to play along because as a single mother, often we end up leaning on that welfare system because the jobs that we have don't bring in enough money. But the welfare system is forcing this person, and he acted a fool in the courtroom. My oldest child, her biological, was in a courtroom, and at that time there was no COVID, so we were all forced into the child support court. And there's like dozens of baby mamas and baby daddies, and everyone sitting in court, and he was loud. He was sitting over there with another female, and she a hoe, she lying, just saying typical stuff that Black dudes, they hear it off of a rap song, and then they turn around and try to say it, to the wrong one, right? So he's over there yelling, she a hoe, she lying, this and that. And so then the judge says, okay, here, and I'll say the name because, we're grown and past the time when I no longer have to protect that from my biological children. And so I'll say a name that many of you have never even heard the name. You probably don't even know this because you have never seen him acknowledge the situation in the years that you've known me. But I'm going to say his name today. We're going to drop that T today. So he goes, and he's carrying on and saying all this awful stuff about me. And at this point, I've already moved on while I was pregnant. I had already moved on because he stayed in denial. He even went into denial with my father. So I had already moved on, and I had actually moved into a marriage. I'm 18 years old pregnant with a biological denying the child that I had and actually being kind of pushed into another situation that I don't think I was really mentally ready for and not too naive for as well. So I'm sitting in court with what now my husband and soon to be father of my next child at the time that I was in child support, but you guys got to go buy the book, let's plug it real quick. Great Sex Is Not Love and Never Will Be. So go buy the book over there on Amazon, available on Barnes & Noble. You can also purchase the book at Barnes & Noble. Just go to your Barnes & Noble to the counter and ask for a copy of Great Sex Is Not Love and Never Will Be by Dee Shields. So you'll get the whole story there. So the judge then says to him, after, of course, the blood test and all that's been done. And so the judge calls our name, And instead of addressing me, the judge kind of looked at me like, I appreciate you for sitting over there being a professional and not cutting up in my court when this dude has been the loudest person in here. So the judge looks directly at him and says, Marcus Rucker, stand up. So he stood up, and Marcus Rucker, and the judge says, Marcus Rucker, 99.9%. Now sit down. You are the child's father, and that was just like one of those hilarious moments. So he tried to humble himself when we got outside the court. So we're standing on the court steps, Austin, Texas, downtown. You guys know child support court, right? So we're standing on the steps, right, of the court, and he turns around and says, walks over to my little young child, and the only thing he's ever purchased in the entire time that my child has existed was a rubber ducky for the bathtub and some baby wipes. My baby is 28 years old, married with her own family, and that is the only thing that Marcus Rucker, Austin, Texas, have ever provided for my child that he denied in the beginning. So he walks over and tries to say something, and my baby pulls back. He's like, I want to talk to my daughter. Let me see my son. So he's like, I want to talk to my daughter. And she pulled back and she grabs on the leg of my then husband. And she grabs his leg. She says, this is my daddy. And she says it in a little toddler voice, like, who are you? And I understood it. And I just sat there, if you're trying to picture what I was like, I was just sitting there like Beyonce in the elevator with Solange and Jay-Z. I'm rocking back and forth, relaxed. Because I had no doubt, I don't go around the streets of Austin trying to point at somebody and make them the baby daddy. That is never the goal of an independent woman that can carry her own, right? So if I say that you're the child's father, you're the child's father, you should have did that rather than get embarrassed in a child support court. But that's 28 years ago, and I digress. So I understood it without the need of the anger. So I was forced in that situation to do child support, to do welfare, right? But I just don't ask for child support, So I moved on. And like I said, fast forward, Great Sex Is Not Love and Never Will Be. This entire story is in the book, you guys. But I move forward and I fast forward. And the next situation comes up. Yes, I have 3 biological baby daddies. Is that how you say? All my exes live in Texas, right? So I move on, and then, once it got to my son, like I said, I'm super independent. I carry my own. I like to make my own money and take care of these beautiful gifts that have been given to me. So I just don't want nobody's help. I'm also a daddy's girl, and my father was around at the time. My father was my provider. So whenever I didn't have something, my father had it. And it was nothing, Everyone that knows my dad, right? So for me to say, I need Pampers going to come faster than the store can open. That's my father, right? So I didn't ever have to worry, So I stayed in that independent status, like that my father and mother created a person that knows how to carry her own, so she's not going to have arguments with some biological contributor, right? This is not something that we're going to do, because you have to be willing to carry your own, to hold your own, right? So in doing that, when I got to the third situation and my son's born, that's when, he's like, I'm filing for child support. So when I find out from him and his wife that he filed for child support, I was like, okay. So they said, well, you come to court, and I come to the court, and they work everything out, and he did that for the rest of his life. With my son, I never bought my son clothes for school. I never bought my son clothes for the summer. I never bought my son. If I purchased things, it was because, hey, I want to. But this biological did everything because that was his seed. That was his first son. And he wanted to do everything that he needed to do, that he was raised to do for his child. So me, him, we have a cordial relationship with his new wife and his ex-wife. All of us, we're at everything that exists for my son, from my son's middle school graduation, high school graduation, birthdays, college graduation from the police force. Like, when he has the babies, like, this is what we do. And it's cordial, and everyone's getting along, and there's no anger. But I didn't bring the anger. So the message that I'm trying to give the women that are in these situations, the more anger that you bring, the less of support that you're going to give. And one other thing that I have to add on, In a recent situation, when I got engaged to the man that I'm with now, I saw a lot of baby mama, aggression and baby mama anger at the things that were not happening that they felt like needed to happen. And they were doing a John Tucker must die kind of thing. Like every time he got someone, they're like bringing her on and let's attack him and all of us are going to go against him. And there's a bunch of anger and it was running him further and further away. And then there's even a situation where he was able to connect and communicate with the child, and the child got on the phone yelling and hollering and cursing him out, disrespectfully so. That I do not approve of. I am like Miss Yana Vanzette when it comes to the goings on between you and a grown man are not something that you need to have a conversation with a child under 18 years old. And especially when you're telling one side of the story, that is not okay. And I'll be damned if you come and attack the one person that this person gets with that tells him that you've got to move past that and you've got to get out there, you've got to work and you've got to grind and you have a lot of obstacles against you because them baby mamas have done a lot to destroy your name and your background and everything that it takes to work a decent job. But you're going to have to get out there and you're going to have to push past all of that. Because no matter what, you want to still make sure that you're doing something that can put some kind of support in that person's hands. And you can't engage in that anger, and you can't go back and forth. So what I'm saying to those type of baby mamas, you need to worship the ground that the deep walk. Okay, no, that's not the message. But you do. Like, you need to really be kind to the new woman that comes in and makes him a better person. If he was not that with you, chances are you need to go to therapy to figure out what you're not able to bring to the table when you're with a man. But when I'm with someone, they're their best self. All my exes live in Texas, and they will tell you the same thing. When I'm with someone, they are a better person. And when they are not behaving the way that they need to behave, I cut ties to give them the clear message that who you are to society doesn't work for me. And you need to get yourself on a better path before you meet the next person that's just as good as me and she drops your A as well. That's all that we need to do. I told you guys in a broadcast before. I have told you guys in a podcast years ago that you need to get him ready for the next chick. Your days on this earth are numbered. You don't know how long you're going to be here. So you always need to prepare him for the next. So you need to put your best foot forward. So when he goes over to the next, if and when that thing happens, all that he can say is all great things about you. Because all my exes live in Texas, and they know when they sit down and face that truth, there's nothing that he did to them. That's the legacy that you leave, women. Not anger, all brought out if you're with somebody famous and it's in every blog and every news media and everyone's talking about it. No, we don't do anger. Get some class about yourself. Get some independence about yourself. Go out there, grind, get it on your own. When that child support and alimony comes, it's just a perk. It's just some extra. You didn't need it. You were able to sit and stand strong and say, I didn't need it. It was extra. I'm thankful for it. But I was able to get out there and get it on my own. When it comes to the children are grown and gone, and the wife that's being left feels like she needs to be given money so that she can keep up with the lifestyle that she once had with this rich person. No, that's not. You don't deserve that, boo. He doesn't owe that to you. Even if you feel like you deserve it, he doesn't owe that to you. It doesn't work between you guys no more. He's not choosing you. You were once with Dr. Dre, and your next boo may be the dude stocking shelves at Walmart. You may not be able to live your best life. So that's the way that the cookie crumbles. And you need to hold your head up high and say, I'm going to continue to live my life, even if my next boo just work at Walmart. I'm still somebody great. And I'm going to hold my own. And I don't need to drag the name of Dr. Dre in the mud in order to be somebody, right? So, yeah, Dre, of course, you know the truth behind the things that you've done. And you know the things that you should give her back. And That's your karma, whether or not you're doing it the right way or not. But ladies, I'm here to speak to you. Okay? So you don't have to slam and degrade, and it makes you look worse, right? All my exes live in Texas, and if I plug the book one more time, great sex is not love and never will be. You gonna be calling some of them dudes some names, but I don't do that. If you read my book, you won't have names for all of them, but I don't do that, right? And it's the reason why I don't do it, because I feel like, people are in our life for a reason and a season. Some seasons are long and some seasons are short, but it's always a reason and a season. And so I don't have anything negative to say about my exes. And, I know that if any of them have anything negative to say, which, we know they don't, then they're just working on some things within themselves, right? But anger and child support and alimony, no, that doesn't mix. You need to get your cordial on. You need to get your independent on. You need to hold your head up high. You need to get your classy on. You need to get along with the new woman and the new woman and the new woman. Because sometimes men go through this phase after divorce where they'll have multiple chicks coming around that they think is really it. You need to get along with all of them. Always put your best face forward. Have them bowing down to you. Those little princesses that he dragged along into your children's life, you're the queen. Have them bow down to you. Represent. They can't bow down to drama. Okay? They can't bow down to toxic. Okay? They can't bow down to somebody running their mouth all the time, trying to say something fly at the lip. Stop. That's not cute. That's not cute for your young children to see. And that is not cute for the neighborhood, community, the schools, the church, the businesses. Stop. Stop running your damn mouth. Get some respect about yourself. And don't you ever have a conversation with those children about what you don't like about their father. God gifted both of you with those gifts. Keep it to yourself. Talk to your raggedy, toxic girlfriends. But you keep that out of the children's life. All right. So I had to just come on and say that because I'm seeing this constantly. I'm talking to men with this issue and situation, and all the dynamics and financial statuses are different, but seems to be the same story. The angry baby mama. Stop. I get along with all of the exes, the women that they deal with, their exes, all that. Everybody at some point is somebody that my child has had to be around. My children have had to be around. We just all get along. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. Anybody that is entertaining that, you're not fit to lead your home. You're not fit to parent your children. If you're entertaining toxic and drama and speaking negative about the father, the biological person that allowed that was a part of how that child is existing, if you're doing that, that speaks ethos about your character. Okay? Stop. Just stop. I've had enough of it. From the richest Dr. Dre drama to the poorest going on. I've had enough. There's a better way. And leave those babies out of it. Go get you a therapist. Girl, get on Bumble or Tinder and swipe and lay up and spread your wide and lay low with a random and tell him your problems before you go tell your children. All right, that's all I have on that. I hope that helps somebody, you guys.